So hey, good evening, guys. How y'all doing? I guess I wanted to make a video, being that we put off the live stream a couple of times now. As you can see, we have hopefully soon. So, and I know y'all have been just incredibly patient. We've got a lot of people working on stuff, and I just found myself with an evening without something very specific to do. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to kind of just run through it and give you guys an overview of sort of where we're sitting at now and what's going on with the mod. So if we switch over there, I'm just going to give you a tour of the room real quick. Obviously, we have a tabletop simulator here. Over here on the right-hand side, we have one of Joe's creations, which is the random player generator, which is, in essence, it's just the the tokens in a bag. So here's our bag up here, and here are our tokens and our players. I do want to let you know that the actual images themselves will be changing. You will not have your typical wizard, barbarian, etc. Token image there. It will be your own custom portrait, and we'll get to that in a second. But to utilize this, you simply press the button, and a copy of your model, your actual model, appears hovering above this, as well as a prompt at the top of the page that tells you who was selected. If you do not want everybody in the pool, for instance, if you don't, good, because it's coming up with the colors. So if there's a glowing ring around it, that means everybody with the glowing ring is in the pool to select from. So sometimes you just want to choose between the wizard and the dwarf or whatnot. So you just make sure those two are the ones that are highlighted, and then what you select would be between just those two. So that's our random player generator. Of course, over here we have our treasure tracker. We have a treasure dice. This symbol represents magic. This symbol represents a standard treasure. And this symbol represents weapons and armor. And if you look up here, we have 3 different treasure decks. So here's your standard treasure. In the middle are weapons and armor, and everything is labeled. And of course we have the magic, and then over here the big one, right? That's the objective room. So epic loot. These small chests here are just representations of different gold amounts. We have a 5, 10, 50, 100. So if during the course of the game you wind up winning some gold or finding some gold on the ground or what have you, let's say you found 60 gold, there's a 50 and a 10, you can just simply take it and you can pop it into your counter, and there you have 60 gold. Go ahead and delete that. Across the front is the treasure tracker itself. Again, these images will change, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a moment. But there's always a problem. People are like, well, what did you bring in? Did I have this when I started? I can't remember. Whose turn was it to get a treasure? No, you got the last treasure. This resolves any of that debate. You just simply click on the number, and it'll go up, and you right-click on it, and it'll go down. And that way you know whose turn it is to get a treasure, or it's between the barbarian and the dwarf this time. So that's our treasure tracker. Coming over to this side of the table, you will notice first we have just sort of some TTS type assets, TTS tools here. Here are some character sheets, a clone bag, and a memory bag. These buttons here represent all of the monsters for level 1. All you have to do, if you're not playing in the rule set, you can just go and press a single button, and there is a cave that looks just like this over here in the play area, and that cave will spit out whatever monster model you just pressed over there. They should all be programmed, so they might work with the rule set, except they will not have their abilities programmed in yet. But again, with their gold value already on there, you can just simply take them and drop them into your treasure counter. And well, he's not wanting to go, is he? For some reason, he's not. There we go. And his gold value is counted. Let's go ahead and delete him. So all level 1 monsters. Now, what's included in the rule set is just the core set monsters, the 10 that come with the core set event deck. Again, we'll get to those in a moment. Over here, we actually have our core set 10 monsters. These are not all of them. As a matter of fact, some have already changed. I know that we got the armor off of the Skaven guy, the rat warrior guy. So he doesn't have that armor on. I know Joe is working on making our orcs green. So we'll have some green orcs. As a matter of fact, out of all of these, the only ones that are actually fully done and ready for the update are the rat, the spider, and the minotaur, and the skaven. And this is not it. There's one that's done that's just not in the game yet. Joe's working on making them green. He's also working on bats. And then after that, it'll be snotlings. And goblins are just tough, guys, so we're probably just going to leave these non-animated goblins in for the update. Lastly, of course, over here, and certainly not leastly, is Little Monk's work. Everybody knows Little Monk, of course. He is Warhammer Quest these days. And we have his traveling hazards. We have Little Monk's settlement events, and we have the Ultimate Adventure book. They are not programmed into the game as of yet. They will be, we hope. Really depends on you guys, of course. In about another 30 to 60 days, I'm going to be turning it over to everybody. And we'll just see. If there's participation and there's Patreons, then that means that there's money to continue the development if you guys want to see it continue to be developed. Of course, I will still be on the server and managing and dealing with what to put in and selecting what we can choose from and welcoming players as they come in and helping to host games. But anyway, so yeah, we have his full books here. Just amazing stuff. Oh, it's so good. Of course, you can go. He has his own site where he has these things available. So in the center of the GM table, you can see we have the full level 1 monster table. Let me move this down over here. Speaking of that, while I'm moving this around, this is our graphics. Okay, these are our graphic user interfaces. This here is the turn tracker, and it's also movable. This is the player GUI, or graphic user interface. I want to talk about that for just a moment. Don't look at the graphic itself, guys. I mean, we already have a second and I think a third version of this that we do plan to implement, and I'm debating whether we do it for update or not. But some minor changes, the largest being, the biggest change to this is going to be the fact that it takes up so much real estate. Totally on me. That wasn't our programmers. I provided this to the programmers. They've done an amazing job with it. Romantic's been working on all the turn tracker stuff. Just amazing job. But you can see as you go all the way to the left, his nose hits it, and there's a big gap here. And I just think we can design it to where it's a little more narrow, and that when you push it all the way to the left, it actually goes up against the side of your screen. So don't pay attention to that part. That stuff can change easily. And we will be changing it. So while we're on the turn tracker very quickly, let's talk about what we have here. First, we have what phase of the game we're in as far as the major phases. We are in the adventure phase as opposed to traveling or settlements or the guild phase. This will show you what phase of the round that you're in. So power phase, warrior phase, monster phase, exploration phase, etc. Then we have everybody that's joined the game and their turn order. Don't worry about turn order yet. We'll get to that in a moment. Over here in the upper left-hand corner, this represents the round counter. So we'll count rounds and track the rounds because some items, this condition that you have is only good for the rest of the round. Or it's good for this potion you drank is good for 4 rounds. And so there's a round counter here. The blue, is the wizard's power. And you'll see how that works. When the wizard rolls for power, it's auto-populated. When you cast a spell, it's auto-deducted. Then at the very bottom, we have the adventure selection button. This question mark will be the adventure selection button. This just confirms that you're ready to start, and you're going to basically, when you press this, it's going to engage the tracker. And the end button is an end turn button, and phase button, it's sort of a multi-button, and we'll talk about that. Then over here, this is for the monsters. So when it's the monsters phase and the monsters are attacking melee, you would use the claw ripping through the banner. And if they're attacking ranged, you would use the ranged icon. Again, we'll show you how to do that in a moment. While we're on the GUI, at the bottom, you will have, this is special, we'll get to that in a moment. You have the rule set fully implemented for combat without a melee weapon. Then we have rule set fully implemented for combat with a melee weapon, which is the most common. This is the most common button. This, of course, is for missile attacks. Little Monk would get on me. It's not a ranged attack, it's missile attacks. You're right. This is a missile attack, and this is a missile attack. This is a special button that we hope to be using in the future. Again, depending on the Patreon support, we will develop this button as sort of a special skills, etc. button. And this over here, this poor little ugly, non-matching, very not fantasy-looking button, that's all I could find, is the pinning button. So that's to break from pinning. We will find something better. And notice they can be moved around. All right, so with that, let's keep going. We have the GM area over here where we have the level 1 monster table, and over to the left we have the unexpected, this is Little Monks, by the way, unexpected combat events table. We have an activation area. This activation area will be utilized for activating your event cards. You'll see how that works in a moment. This area will spawn the monsters. So this is your monster spawning area. Over here, what the game loads with is just the 5 core set objective rooms. That's because when you go to select an adventure randomly, you start by selecting a card, an objective room, and on that objective room you have choices. By rolling a dice, it determines the choice. You'll have prompts through all of this. At the top of the screen up here, there'll be prompts, as well as in your, let me get off the white here, as well as in the chat. So you'll be able to look back and kind of have a record of what's happened. All right. Little Monk stuff I wanted to mention. Again, the rule set, I don't want to go into a discussion of what it is and what it isn't right now. I want to do that for the live stream. Apart to say that the mod itself is really just, it's a means to an end. The end, the game, is the guild. So what we don't want, I guess, is what's not expected. What we don't want is for somebody to just grab the mod and then they have their 2 or 3 friends that they play with, and they go and they play games with the mod. You know, we've spent thousands of dollars on this, thousands, and then you're using it. I mean, that's okay, but that's not what is expected. I mean, quite frankly, what's expected is that if you get the mod, and you can play with your 2 or 3 friends, you know, all the time and what have you, but we do expect at the very least, if you're playing that game using this mod, that you post that game up on the guild. You know, if you've got 3 or 4, can you not take an extra seat and have 1 spot open, give somebody an opportunity to play, let them see that there's, you know, 4, 5, 6 games this week, and that time kind of works for me. I'd like to jump in on that one. That's what I'm hoping. People be able to play all over the world that might not, particularly in these times, with these lockdowns and whatnot, they might not have the opportunity or the ability to play with their group of friends in person. So that's really what's expected. If you get the mod, we hope that if you're using it and you're playing a game with it, that you put it up on the Discord. We're trying our best to make it as easy and as simple and as easy as possible to do that. So nonetheless, it is just, what the mod is just the core set right now. The update will be just the core set, 10 monsters, the core event decks, the first 4 characters, etc. Now, that being said, that's the hardest part. Once that's done, it's kind of, I don't want to say easy. I know my programmers probably, they're rolling their eyes, but it's easy to add a character, or it's easy to add in a monster, because how a monster will interact with everything has already been done. So this is just a different kind of monster. You go in and you program his description, and he's all done. So with that said, even though Little Monk stuff is not programmed in yet, you can still play it. So it's still in the game. And let me show you that. So over here on the right-hand side, first of all here, so we had, event deck, objective room, power dice. Yeah, we went through all of that. So over here, if you look, this little cave, it says UAB objective rooms. It's the Ultimate Adventure Book objective rooms. Just simply right-click it, and you can search it, and up comes all of the dungeon tiles that are in Little Monk's stuff, as well as the cards associated with them. All right. In addition to that, you go to the chest over here and search, And in Little Monk stuff, there might be a Skaven adventure, a Chaos, dwarf adventure. And if that's the case, if you wound up with a Chaos Dwarf adventure, for instance, you can come up and just grab the Chaos Dwarf adventure bag. And even though you'll still have to set it up old school TTS, you'll still have to, manually set everything up. You won't have to go hunt for everything because everything's in this bag. So we have all the monsters that are associated with the Chaos Dwarves. We have the event decks already separated for the Chaos Dwarves. We have the monster tables, etc. Magic rules, special rules. They're all separated. And I think those are mostly done. If they're not fully finished, don't jump on us, guys. We've had a lot to do. But I think they're just about all done. Yeah. Tzeentch, yeah, they're all in there. Skaven, Undead, Haunted, Vampire, Slanesh, Khorne, Savage Orcs. So they're all in there and they are playable. This box over here is absolutely, totally, completely, and utterly off limits. Do not mess with that box. That box is the spawning stuff for all of the character sheets. So for now, we're just going to leave it alone. As well as this. This is for future. This is Deathblow Carrick Asgal. We're going to have Sea Ranger hopefully do a really nice, again, it's up to the community. Just blow your mind stuff with the different campaigns and what can be done. And so that's just a general tour of the room. As you can see, I've already got 3 characters out. I haven't set them up or anything, but I wanted to go ahead and get them out. We can go ahead and get rid of the Adventurers Guild logo. And just to show you how easy it is, this is how it'll work, guys. So you'll come into the game, all right? And when you join the game, a graphic will appear, and you'll select Adventure. And the first thing you want to do is go change your color. So you see your name will appear up here, and a drop-down. When you click it, a drop-down shows up, and it says Change Color. You click Change Color, and you go to the seat you want. For now, we're going to be the elf. So we're going to go green. And then you have a choice of new character or saved character. We'll talk about saved characters later. But for new character, you want to click a new character, and then you choose your characters. And again, we hope to have these guys in. If we have the support, we'll have these guys in as well. For now, it's just our core set characters, and we select elf, and everything for the elf appears. We'll go ahead and just set up the elf, and I'll go walk you around the character sheets and whatnot a little bit. So, character sheets themselves, you can see that spawns. You can see there are some instructions over here. I do need to redo these guys. Do not take it for, take it with a grain of salt, what they say, because they do need to be changed, but there'll be instructions here on how to set up a character specifically. You have your character information over here in the upper right-hand corner. This is your character's gold total, not for the adventure, but for your warrior, for your character. From adventure to adventure, as they collect gold and what have you, this will be their total. The hand and this small green area, this small box, are really for the wizard. These are your wound totals. So when you know your wound total, this is where you put it. In this small box is your wound total. This is your current wounds. This is how much you've taken, okay? Then we have, of course, our attributes section with all of the necessary attributes. The one on the left-hand side is a total of the base. This is your base character and any modifiers that you have to your base. This is what the computer and the system will look at when they're doing their calculations. Next over, we have an equipped section. You'll see how that works in a moment, as well as an owned section, and then a wonderful notes section here. You can have as many notes as you want. Each note has 10 pages long, and there are 10 pages of notes themselves. So in other words, you can see how skills goes up. I can put over here that this is, I don't know, interesting NPC, right? And then I can go over to the right, 10 pages, and I can scroll up and down. Your model will appear, as well as some dice, some large dice here, and I call these the battle dice, and you'll see why in a moment. So let's go ahead and just start setting up a character. We're already here with elf, so let's call the elf, I don't know, Elphora. And of course the player is Flying Dad. Okay. Now, as soon as I put in the name and clicked out of that, if you hover over the model now, you'll see that Elphora is the model is already named. And of course, first thing we got to do is find out how many wounds. So we roll for wounds. Guild rules are you only keep a 4, 5, or 6. So you only keep a 4, 5, or 6, but you have to keep the first one that you get. Look at that, we got a 6. The reason for that is the guild, quite frankly, doesn't just take anybody. You know, we don't just take anybody. Got to have some, you know, some qualifications. So with the elf, it's 7. So 7 and 6 is 13. Put in 13 here, and you'll notice that your wounds right there automatically go to 13 as well. So you don't have to click it up. And that's it for the elf, except for 2 things. No good adventurer goes in unarmed, without any weapons whatsoever. And here are the character starting items. So if you hover over, you'll see we have a basic sword. The elf does start with a basic sword. You want to put it on the equipped section, okay? Very important. Put that on the equipped section. And of course, the elf starts with an elf bow. Let me get my raise just a little bit higher here. Okay. That's a little better. So the elf starts with a bow. You want to equip that bow as well. And of course, she has a healing potion, which is just owned. You're not using it right away. You're just keeping it with you. Elf is set up and ready to go. Now, once a character's set up and ready to go, what I like to do is I go ahead and I'll highlight a couple of these battle dice. You just click and drag over them, highlights 2, and then click them and it'll pick them up. As long as you left click and hold, they'll follow you around. And then I like to go over and hover over my model till it's highlighted. And I'll right click and it groups them all together. And I'll take a couple battle dice in my model over to the beginning entrance area and I'll just drop them there. That kind of lets the host know that you're ready. You're done. You're finished setting up your character. You're ready to go. So let's go ahead and switch colors. And let's do the dwarf real fast. This time I won't even talk as much and to show you how quick it can really be. So let's see. We want to name our dwarf. We'll just name him Gungi. And it's Flying Dad. Right? And we roll for our wounds. We only keep a 4, 5, or 6. So you can see this is going to be the longest part. Oh, we got a 5. I'll take it. And it's 5 plus 8. So that's 13 as well. And we got to go equipped. So he's got his great axe. Great axe ability is programmed, guys. And of course, he has his 30 feet of rope. He's all set, it seems like. So we'll go ahead and grab that, highlight him. Come on, Gungi, there we are. And we'll move him over as well because we're ready. Although we're not. I forgot about something. Cool part. So we're Gungi. Right now we're orange. Go down. Go to your Discord. Just click on your little Discord icon. It'll bring up the Adventurers Guild, right? Because you'll have all that ready. Go to where it says Character Token Library, Dwarves, and choose any of these. In addition to that, you'll be able to make your own through the token tool. So if you want to make your own, you can. And let's find a good, I don't know. Oh, he looks pretty good. You simply, you simply right-click. A menu will appear. Go down to Copy Link. Copy the link, go into Tabletop Simulator again. You just click your TTS, and then click that question mark on your GUI. So make sure that you're orange. Orange is the dwarf. I'm going to click that. Then you click in the box and hit Control-V to paste. Once you've pasted that link in, hit Confirm, and your dwarf is now in-game. Portrait of your dwarf is in-game. So let's real quick, let's move over here, and I'm going to go back to green. And we'll get the elf's portrait in. So we'll go over to Discord and go to elves. And I don't know who looks good. Oh, I like that one. There we go. Copy link. Back to papers here. Click here. Click here. Control V. Confirm. That's part. Okay. Is it in? Yeah, it's in. Alrighty. So we got Flying Dad. We're going to change color. We'll go ahead and do the Barbarian, which is teal. He's super fast. So we're going to call Mr. Barbarian here Barb. And it's Flying Dad. All right. And you roll for wounds on the Barbarian. on Barb here. And again, this is the longest part of setting up your character. Come on, big number. 4. 4 plus 9, right? So he gets 13. And then we want to go get his picture. So we want to go to Barbarians, and why not? He looks good. Done. All right, now we're going to equip the Barbarian, of course. He's got to carry his sword, right? Now, you notice, though, Barbarians have thick furs that they wear that give them +1 toughness when they wear their furs. Well, if you notice, right now, he's at 3. We need that +1. And over here, we have some, oops, not programmed in, no big deal. There we are. Now it's programmed in. So we have some furs. Well, we want him to wear those furs, of course, so you want to equip the fur. You want to wear the fur. It will modify at +1. His toughness is now 4 because he's wearing the furs. Pretty slick, huh? That will go for all kinds of items. That will be utilized for treasures, potions, different types of weapons, etc. Okay? All can be programmed in, and to use them, you don't ever have to remember, oh yeah, I had that blade of slicing, it does 2 extra wounds. No, you just have it on your sheet. Now it'll always do 2 extra wounds for you. So I think our Barbarian's done. He's set. Also, the Barbarian has the torch, and if you can look at his model, you'll see that he has the torch, and his torch is lit. Now, if you right-click the model, you'll see there's different effects and whatnot that you can do. You can simply turn the torch off by clicking it off. If somebody else is going to be the torch or the leader or the torch carrier, then you can pull out the model inside these chests. We'll talk about these chests later, but there is an addition or a version of your model that will have the torch that you can light. But for now, we'll just keep the Barbarian, of course. We'll turn his torch back on, okay? Since he's good, we'll go ahead and highlight a couple of dice, pick them up, grab Mr. Barbarian. Barb, all right, Barb, and we'll drop Barb over here. Last is the Wizard. Wizard's a little more complicated, as everybody knows, right? So this is how you do your Wizard. First, let's give him a name. Shazam. All right. And it's played by Flying Dan. Okay. And notice it says Shazam, so the model is right. So next, we go ahead and roll for wounds. And again, you only keep 4, 5, or 6. First one that comes up, and it's a 4 plus his 6 is 10. Sorry, my daughter's getting Cokes out of the something to drink out. So he has 10 wounds we just put over here. Next, we want to roll for his innate power. What kind of power he's got with him? That's not bad. We'll take that. His crystal ball here is his innate power. That stores his innate power. So we have 5 there. All right. Lastly, we want to pick some spells, of course. So we have each of our spell decks are over here, already set up, the core set of attack, healing, and defense spells. Go ahead and give them a good shuffle. So all you have to do to shuffle is hover over it till it's highlighted and hit your R key on the keyboard, and that will shuffle every time you hit the R key. I'm going to give them a couple of good shuffles. I mean, shuffle up some healing spells here and some defense spells, and then let's go ahead and pull them off and flip them. Pull them off, flip. Lifebringer, pull them off, flip. Ogre Strength, okay. Now, guild rules are this. Typically, you just have to choose those. Guild rules are that you can take one category of spell, either attack, healing, or defense, whatever you like least, and you may select one more from that same category and choose the one you want. For this, I'm going to change Ogre Strength because I kind of like Levitate. That's not too bad. Lifebringer's not terrible, although it's kind of expensive. So, yeah, I think I'd want a little better attack spell. So I'm going to draw one more off the attack. Fireball, absolutely. I'll take Fireball over Ogre Strength. All right, so once you have your spells selected, you know which spells you're going to have. I like to clean it up. So I just click and drag. So I highlight all the spell cards, left click and hold, and it'll bring them up. Oh, I just mixed them all up. No big deal. And then you just hover them over your chest and drop them. And they'll get sucked into your chest and you can keep them there. Now, to load up your spells, whoa, change color, wizard. There we go. To load up your spells, all you have to do, hover over the card and select 1 on your keyboard. So just 1, 1, 1. You'll notice that loads up your spells immediately. They stay over here in your hand. However, what I like to do is I like to take my bottom graphic GUI here, and I like to lift it up just a little bit. And now you can see that I have Levitate, Lifebringer, and Fireball. I can see what they cost immediately, right? I also have an icon for each spell that represents Levitate, Lifebringer, and Fireball, and it tells you what the icon is for. And if I want to see the specifics, like I don't remember how Lifebringer really works. I forgot about that. Just hover over the card and hit your Alt key. Hover over the card, hit your Alt key, and you're able to read what your spell is specifically. All right, so with that, I think our wizard's set up except for his portrait. So let's go ahead and grab a portrait over here for him. Simply go to Wizards, and oh, I like him. He's good. Copy link, down to TTS. Click your question mark, click in the box, Control V, confirm. Wizard portrait's in the game. And of course we have to give him his basic sword, right? Don't want him to go in unarmed. And he's got his Hand of Death scroll. And with that, we can take our dice and our model. And now the host knows that we're all kind of ready to go. And with that, we're going to pause, and there'll be another video followed up immediately by this one, where we will continue to go through just sort of where the state of the mod is right now at the moment. But so far, so good, guys. It goes really fast. I know that took a little time, but I was doing every single one. You can imagine 4 people doing it all at the same time. And, I mean, you're set up in less than 5 minutes. All right, guys. Video 2 is coming. Thanks very much. Talk to you guys soon.